Good day, everyone. This is Teacher Cherry. In this video, we will learn about joint variation. We will illustrate situations that involve joint variation. We will translate into variation statement a relationship involving joint variation between two quantities given by a mathematical equation and vice versa. And we will solve problems involving joint variation. Ano nga ba ang joint variation? Joint variation occurs when one quantity varies directly as the product of two or more other quantities. This can be expressed into mathematical statement or equation as A equals K times B times C and K equals A over B times C, where K is the constant of variation or constant of proportionality. In joint variation, A is the first quantity, so it varies directly as the product of two or more other quantities. So, yung B and C, yung other quantities natin. Ang joint variation ay parehas ng direct variation. Yun nga lang ang pagkakaiba nila. Sa joint variation, involve ang two or more quantities. K is our constant of variation. Okay, let us have the statement. A varies jointly as B and C. This is translated as A equals K times B times C. Yung A, yun yung first quantity and then varies jointly. So, constant K multiply to the second and third quantities which are B and C. So, we have B times C. Some physical relationships as in area or volume may involve three or more variables simultaneously, which are representations of joint variation. So, yung mga area or volume, nagre-represent siya ng joint variation. Let us have illustration of joint variation in real life. If the area A of a rectangle varies jointly as the base B and altitude H, then the relationship can be translated into a mathematical statement as A equals K times B times H. A is the area, K is the constant of variation, B is the base, and H is the altitude. So, in joint variation, imumultiply lang natin sa constant yung mga variables na B and H. Yung first variable or first quantity, yun yung naka-isolate dito sa left side. Let's translate the statements into equations. For number 1, y varies jointly as the product of x and z. So this is equal to y equals k times x times z. Y is the first quantity. Siya yung naka-isolate dito sa left side. Equal siya sa constant times the product of x and z. Number 2, the volume V of a rectangular solid varies jointly as the product of its length L with W and its height H. This is equal to V equals K times length times width times height. So, V stands for volume, equal siya sa constant times L is for length, W is for width, and H is for height. Number 3, the force F applied to an object varies jointly as the mass M and the acceleration A. This is translated as F equals K times M times A. F stands for force, so ito yung first quantity or first variable. Equal sa K is for the constant, M stands for mass, so ito yung second quantity natin, and A is for acceleration, so the third variable. So sa jointly, mumultiply lang natin yung two or more quantities or variables. Let's solve problems involving joint variation. Z varies jointly as x and y, and z equals 6 when x equals 10 and y equals 8. Find the following. For A, find k or the constant of variation. For B, find the equation of the relation. For C, find the value of z when x equals 4 and y equals 30. To find k or the constant of variation, translate muna natin yung equation na z varies jointly as x and y into equation. So this is equal to z equals k times x times y. Then substitute natin yung values ng z, x, and y dito sa ating equation. Z is equal to 6, so we have 6 equals K, copy natin yung K since ito yung ating hinahanap. X is equal to 10 and Y is equal to 8. So we have 10 times 8. And then, multiply natin yung 10 and 8. So it is equal to 80 times K. Copy natin yung 6 dito sa left side ng ating equal sign. After that, divide natin both sides by 80 or imumultiply both sides sa 1 over 80. Okay, so divide natin both sides by 80. We have 6 over 80 equals 80 times K over 80. We have K equals 3 over 40. Paano na ko yung 3 over 40? Lowest term natin yung 6 over 80. Divide natin yung numerator and denominator by 2. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. 80 divided by 2 is equal to 40. So, ang value ng constant of variation natin is 3 equals 40. For B, to find the equation of the relation, sasubstitute natin yung value ng K dito sa ating equation. We have Z equals, ang K natin is 3 over 40 times X times Y. So, this is the equation of the relation. To find the value of Z when X equals 4 and Y equals 30, gagamitin natin ang equation of the relation. Isasubstitute natin yung values ng x and y dito sa ating equation. We now have z equals 3 over 40 times x times y. Ang value ng x is 4. Ang value ng y is 30. Then, let's simplify. Fa-factor natin yung 40, the factors are 4 and 10. Then, we can cancel 4 and 4 since that is equal to 1. And then, 30 divided by 10 is equal to 3. Ang naiwan na lang ay 3 and 3. Multiply, we have 9. So, that is the value of z. Z is equal to 9 when x equals 4 and y equals 30. Let's solve another problem involving joint variation. The mass of a rectangular sheet of wood varies jointly as the length and the width. When the length is 20 centimeters and the width is 10 centimeters, the mass is 200 grams. Find the mass of a rectangular sheet of wood when the length is 15 centimeters and the width is 10 centimeters. To solve this problem, tatranslate muna natin yung statement na the mass of a rectangular sheet of wood varies jointly as the length and the width. This is equal to M for mass equals K times length times width. L is for length and W is for width. And then after that, isa-substitute natin yung mga values. For length, that is equal to 20 centimeters. Para sa width, 10 centimeters. And para sa mass, 200 grams. We have M is equal to 200 equals K. So, yung K ay hinahanap pa natin. L, length is 20 centimeters. For W, width is 10 centimeters. Then, copy 200 equals, multiply 20 times 10, it is equal to 200 times K. Divide natin both sides by 200 or multiply by 1 over 200 both sides. We have 200 over 200 equals 200K over 200. So, K equals 200 divided by 200 is equal to 1. So, ang value ng K natin is 1. After that, isubstitute natin dito sa ating equation. So, since K is equal to 1, we have M equals length times width na lang ang maiiwan. Then, substitute natin yung second value ng length, which is 15 centimeters, and width, which is 10 centimeters, para makuha natin yung mass. We have M equals, L is 15, W is 10. Multiply 15 and 10, the product is 150. Therefore, the mass of a rectangular sheet of wood is 150 grams. Okay, don't forget na ilagay yung unit of measurement. So, mass, the unit of measurement is grams. Okay, that's the end of our tutorial. Before I end this video, I would like to share a simple quotation. Always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later. Thank you so much. Keep safe and have a great day.